I think we could all agree that 2017 was one of the greatest years in video games. Seriously, we got such great games that are going to be considered classics in time when they are going to be considered classics. So I want to count down the best ones of the year, of course. Trust me, this one was really hard. Hey guys, DPX here. Welcome to my top 10 games of 2017. Did I say that already? I don't even know at this point. I probably did, I probably didn't. That doesn't matter. Today, I'm looking at the best games of 2017. And trust me, like I already said, there's a lot to choose from. So this was really hard. I had to think about this throughout the entire year. Anyways, so here are some rules. I'm not including any mobile games. Those are like a different type of game. They shouldn't really be on this list, to be honest. And then the other rule is that one game per franchise, and the game can't be early accessed. So, you know what that means? You don't? Well, what I mean by early access is that it has to be fully complete, finished, and have the full release in 2017. So sorry, you know what that means? That means PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will not be making it to this one. However, it does deserve a very special mention based on like how huge of a sensation it was. Yes, you can call it that. Also, it can't be a remake, port, remaster, re-release, anything like that. So most of those Switch games you saw this year, well, a lot of those Switch games you saw this year, games like, I don't know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Pokémon Tournament DX, ports to the Switch or ports to anything or re-release. Yeah, I'm not going to go over the list again. They won't be making it to this list just because it's like a remake or stuff like that. They have to be brand new games, sequels, reboots, spin-offs, whatever. They can't be a different version of another game. It can't be the same game released again. Alright? So, anyways guys, let's begin. Now, once you see Middleearth Shadow of War, I know what you're thinking. The terrible loot boxes, and the progression system, and the microtransactions, and all that crap. And yes, that is a really bad thing that needs to be changed. But look beyond that. You have an otherwise perfect game. The loot boxes are something that overshadowed a lot of games this year, like Star Wars Battlefront, and this. No pun intended. Get it? Because Shadow of War, whatever. But with this, it makes you forget how good it really is. However, I like to ignore those loot boxes because they are like the worst thing ever. I'd say it's even better than Mordor despite the loot boxes. Okay, it's practically the same game as Mordor, but a sequel, and it's pretty different. So it's allowed. The story is cool, the gameplay is stellar. The only reason it makes just the number 10 spot are those damn loot boxes. That's what makes up practically all the replay value. But the game is deserving of the number 10 spot. I'm moving on. Also, I'm sure a lot of you will disagree with me. If you do, take it down in the comments. I'll be willing to argue with you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Start an argument in the comments if you want. Oh, Bethesda, when do you not end up on a list like this? every year you pop out games that are worth year, game of the year, whatever. Bethesda was really good this year, and it was hard to pick which game would be on this list at first. With releases like Prey, Evil Within 2, and Dishonored: Death of the Outsider, as well as some new VR experiences and Switch ports. But their best game this year, by far, has got to be Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus. It's one of the best Nazi shooting games out there. Yeah, I know that was very specific, and this is still the whole what if the Nazis won World War II fantasy, but it's amazing. It's a really fun game. A great story and everything. And it's definitely worth your time. It shouldn't... Don't get confused with like the old... The Wolfenstein, like Wolfenstein 3D. I know that's a fantastic game. First-person shooters out there that revolutionized stuff and everything. I'm not saying that's a bad game. Don't think this is the same exact thing though, so because then that'll be a bit outdated. But this is by far the best FPS of the year, meaning it's the only FPS on this list. But still, it's a great game. And yes, I know this this segment was pretty quick, but the game is good. Since this is my list, you should have known that this game would have made the list. And yes, Tekken 7 came out this year and is regarded to be better than this. But in this country, it came out in the US 2 years after its Japanese release. That rhyme. Injustice 2, I said, is one of the greatest fighting games of all time in my top 10 fighting games list. P.S. Shameless plug. It's one of the best fighting games, and for good reason. It has an amazing story, amazing character roster, with guest characters like Raiden and Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, and Hellboy and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And the gear system, the gear system is one of the best parts about this game. And that, the multiverse mode, gives this game a ton of replay value. Hands down, the best fighting game of 2017 that first came out this year, not counting Tekken 7, okay? And of course, I had to include Cuphead on the list, because it'll just be completely criminal not to. Cuphead might have gotten an interesting fan base, which people say ruined the game. Heh. It most definitely did not ruin the game. The game is still a lot of fun. Cuphead is what you get when you combine a part of the gameplay of Mega Man, the other part of the gameplay of Contra, the difficulty of Dark Souls, and the art style of the early Disney shows and days, whatever. And yes, I did say difficulty of Dark Souls, because this game is hard as all hell. And by far the hardest game of the year, and maybe even one of which of all time. This game is going to keep you playing, and is something Studio MDHR should definitely continue once it dies out. But even then, it won't die out for a while. This game is possibly the most addictive game of the year. Addicting. Most addicting game of the year by far. some of the most memorable boss fights, possibly of all time, and one of the hardest games of all time. Like this Pac-Man dude, he's memorable. So is the game. On to number 6. If there was anything 2017 surprisingly did really well, it was bring back a lot of franchises that seemed like they were dead otherwise. Case in point, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Many people lost hope in the franchise after 5 and 6, but 7 is a surprisingly awesome game, giving a terrifying, in a good way, first-person view rather than the usual third-person view, and hunting the Baker family, as well as giving it an even more terrifying VR experience, possibly the best VR experience of the entire year. Because, come on, having monsters right in your face, that's terrifying, but awesome. This will go down as one of the best Resi games in the franchise. And for good reason. It was huge. It was big. Everyone loved it and everything. It's I don't really have this game myself, but I mean, I played it at a friend's house enough, and therefore I have an opinion on it. It's a really good game, and the first person perspective is awesome. More Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 8, whenever the hell that's gonna be a thing. I mean, don't count on it yet, but I mean, just saying, that better keep the first person's perspective, and even the DLC stuff, like Not a Hero and all that stuff is awesome. Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Another criminal omission would be NieR Automata. Nobody outside Japan really knew this franchise well till this game. Not to mention, it also saved Platinum Games. Seriously, Platinum did pretty bad in 2016, but did pretty good and redeemed themselves in 2017. Pretty much just because of this game. This might even be one of the best hack and slash games of all time. In this game, you play as Tubi, that character. Not that character. That character. Yeah. And slashing robots to hell, while 9S is by your side. It has an amazing story, amazing graphics, amazing characters, gameplay. Everything basically is amazing in this game, and I'm moving on. Enough said. And tell me, when does Atlas not deliver? Persona 5 is a fantastic game. A great RPG, or JRPG, I don't know what it is. And just a great game in general. Persona 5 is arguably the best game in the franchise. The reason why it doesn't place any higher on the list is because it started some controversy with Atlas and the fact that they didn't allow any gameplay for this game in order to get away from spoilers. Despite that, it's a fantastic game that deserves to be on this list. Seriously, it's amazing. It's sort of a JRPG, but at the same time, you select an outcome, something like that. Right there, you select what to say. It's one of those Telltale games, but it's good. It's a fantastic JRPG and is worth your time. And you guys saw this coming. Once you thought things were getting like amazing with Persona 5, here's Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is a huge success for Sony, making them a brand new franchise. Hallelujah for Sony. This game has two separate words to describe it: beautiful and massive. This is an amazing open world game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like an open world game. And in one in which I just said is huge. And then the visuals are just great too. This is an amazing game, and even already got an expansion, Frozen Wilds. This game is almost too good for words. All else I can say, it's a must-have for the PS4. And any PS4 owner. If you're a PS4 owner and you don't have this, get your shit together. And yet it gets even better. Super Mario Odyssey is by far the most massive game on the list. I said that Horizon Zero Dawn was pretty massive, but this is the most massive. Holy crap, I don't even know what to say about this game because of how incredible it is. So Princess Peach gets captured again, but this time she's forced to marry Bowser, so it's different. You collect a ton of power moons, which also gives you the game. It gives the game a lot of replay value. I don't want to redo that line. I'm gonna move on. So okay, I still have to talk about this game. So it's references and Easter eggs galore, like including an 8-bit 2D section throughout the whole game. There are many parts in the game where you do the 8-bit 2D section. Pretty cool. People might have thought this should have been a launch title for the Switch, but I and many other people would say it was well worth the wait. Really, this game is amazing, and if you haven't gotten a Switch yet, get the bundle with this game, damn it. Before we get to number 1, which is probably obvious at this point, let's take a look at some honorable mentions, and trust me, there's a lot of them. So, strap yourselves in, guys. Okay, number 1 is actually a tie between many different games. Are you ready to see them? Because I'm not myself. We got Vroom in the Night Sky, Reservoir Dogs Bloody Days, Drawn to Death, and Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back. I'm just kidding. It's actually none of these games. These are actually some of the worst games of the year. What it really is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it gets even better. Legend of Zelda The Breath of the Wild is the launch title for the Switch. I mean, seriously, if you don't have this game on the Switch by now, you're going to get left in the dust. I'm telling you that. Yeah, sorry about the tomato cam. But, yeah, my best gameplay I have for it. Anyways, what about this game has not been said already? Okay, I know. Might sound like I'm chickening, but seriously, I don't think I need to say anything. It's quite obvious that this is going to take the top spot on this list. Call me predictable, but it deserves the top spot. It's a freaking awesome game. I mean, really. It's like so good. So good. It's a massively beautiful game. I don't really need to talk about this one. I mean, just the gliding mechanics cool. The only thing it has going against it are the slight frame rate drops and the terrible weapons that break automatically. Not automatically, but very quickly. However, the story's good, and it's the first Zelda game to have voice acting, but it's okay, Link doesn't talk. However, many people don't like the voice acting. I think it's fine. Some people call this game one of the best games ever made. All I can say is that it is the best game of 2017. Well, that's my list. Did you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? Tell me in the comments below. And how did you like 2017? I thought it was the best year for gaming in quite some time. That's for another day. Yeah, that was my phone buzzing, in case you heard that. So yeah, be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about games in 2017. Do you agree with my list and everything? Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll most likely see you in 2018. Alright? So bye, guys.